Hey, what's up, folks? Welcome back to On Texas Football. I'm lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers, joined by fellow lifetime Longhorn CJ Vogel, and it is time for our game week preview. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about the Oklahoma Sooners. I don't know what time it is, but whatever time it is, OU still sucks. Our game preview is brought to you by our good friends over at MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Make sure you're in the game with MyBookie. Play any matchup, hundreds of college player props and more. Check out mybookie.ag. I'll give you some more details about that in just a second. But CJ, a lot of hype, of course, surrounding Texas OU as usual. The injury report and some of the injuries that is kind of taken, I think, a lot of the headlines lately leading up into this Texas-Oklahoma game. Looks like the Longhorns are expected to have a very healthy, or at least the healthiest Quinn Ewers that we've had since the start of the season. And for the Sooners, once again, plagued by a lot of injuries at the skill positions, particularly the wide receiver positions, and that could play a huge role in how this offense is going to try to attack this Texas defense.
Yeah, of course. And, if you're a Texas fan, Quinn Ewers coming back for this game is huge. And not only is it a game that he's, very excited to be a part of. I've had folks inside the building tell me, oh, yeah, he's had his eyes circled on this game since before the year, trying to get that revenge and avenging the loss from a year ago. This is one where Quinn would like to leave with the winning record against Oklahoma. One of the few Texas quarterbacks to do this in my lifetime, that's for sure. So that's big for him. But also going into this game, Rod, and we're going to talk about kind of the discrepancies in quarterbacks with experience and with time in this game, because it does matter, right? You are going to get flustered at some point. Walking out of that tunnel is a little bit different than other games, even true road games. And, Auburn, is a tough place to play. There's no doubt about it. But this is a little unique, right? So we're going to talk about that here in a bit as well. But huge for Texas. Not only is Quinn back, but Derek Williams expected to be back in the secondary as well, which in terms of the pass defense for Texas, I'm not sure how much they'll be tested with this wide receiver front from Oklahoma. Of course, Deion Burke's out for Oklahoma.
Wow.
Top 5 guys coming into the year not going to be suiting up for Oklahoma going into this year at the wide receiver position, Rod. It's going to be a completely new look for Oklahoma against the Longhorns than what was expected coming into the season.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Injury bug has hit them hard at that position. We'll get into it and discuss, obviously, offense, defense for both sides here and get into all the X factors. But first, let me tell you about our friends over at MyBookie. With all the excitement of this season, make sure you're in the game with MyBookie. Bet any matchup, hundreds of college player props, and take advantage of weekly risk-free bets. The best part is you can do it all anytime, anywhere, straight from your phone. Visit mybookie.ag and use the promo code ONTexas to get started. It's MyBookie's 10-year anniversary, so they're rolling out the red carpet for each and every one of you. You can bet big and bet confidently with risk-free Thursdays. If your boosted bet doesn't hit, you'll get your money back weekly, no sweat, win-win bets all season long, folks. And sign up right now using the code ONTexas, and you can cash in on double deposit bonus. It's a no-brainer. Double the cash in your account before you even place your first bet. That's how it works with MyBookie. They're always hooking you up. But don't wait right now. It's for a limited time only. And for those of you who bet all the time, you veterans when it comes to MyBookie, right now they're offering you MyBookie Plus, a brand new loyalty rewards program. It's simple. The more you play, the more you earn. And as you progress through the tiers, you unlock exclusive promotions, epic giveaways, and cash back in your account. That's mybookie.ag. All right, let's start with what I think may be the biggest mystery in this game, CJ. How does Oklahoma move the football against Texas? How do they do it? No, I'm serious. I don't mean to sound arrogant. I am not. That is not me trying to mock the Sooners. But based on what we've seen, I can throw out the numbers, and you got some too, I'm sure. They're 130th in explosive play rate on offense. Texas, by the way, is the best explosive rate defense. They allow the fewest explosive plays of 20 yards or more in the country. So explosive play rate for Texas, you're the best defense at limiting explosive plays. Oklahoma is one of the worst offenses in the country at generating explosive plays. They only got 8 passing plays. I repeat, 8 passing plays of 20 yards or more. CJ, only 6 teams have fewer 20-plus yard pass plays on their resume so far this year. By the way, ULM and Michigan are two of those 6 teams. Their conversion rate on third down, they're like 129th in the country. So they don't convert. They don't generate explosive plays. They got a true freshman starting at quarterback in the Texas OU game. You just brought up the injuries at wide out. They got the top 5 wide receivers that are out. I'm serious. going up against the Texas defense, which is top 10 statistically in all the major categories, probably except for like sacks and like tackles for loss and some of the havoc plays, which the Oklahoma defense we'll get to is ranked really high in. How do they move the football against this Texas defense?
Rod, everything that we're about to talk about with this Oklahoma offense is going to tell you to run straight to my bookie and bet whatever their team total is under. Because, again, I mean, it's a recipe for not scoring points. What are they good at? It's not running the football. They don't have healthy wide receivers. They don't have a great offensive line. Their quarterback, not proven, right? You know, he beat Auburn, but mostly because Oklahoma had what? A pick six with 4 minutes left in that game. So because of that, it leads you to think that this might be a blowout if Texas finds some rhythm offensively. Now, again, anything can happen in this game, and I'm going to continue saying that because we've seen anything and everything happen in this game. But to your point, I don't know. Oklahoma is outside of the top 100 in the FBS and drives starting at the 75 or at the 25 or 20-yard line of their own side of the field and finding points. You know, points per drive. They average 0.79 points per drive on drives that start or need to go 75 yards to the end zone or more. They don't do well on third downs. You mentioned that. They're outside of the top 125 in third down efficiencies so far this year. And it gets worse, right? It gets worse with Michael Hawkins as the quarterback so far. He's 3 of 22, I believe, in third downs in games. Take out the 2 garbage time snaps or third down attempts from week 1, and he's 2 of 20. Wow. 4 of 20, excuse me. He's 20%. The numbers get mixed up there, but 20%. You know what that would be, Rod? That would be 132nd out of 133 qualifying teams, and that's against quality opponents. That's Tennessee, and that's Auburn. Texas has a pretty quality defense, I would say, as well, lining up in the top 10 of total yards, points per game, points per possession. It's pretty good so far. This is going to be a tough test. I don't know how they do it with all these missing weapons, all these weak offensive linemen right now, and again, a quarterback that just hasn't been able to do it so far.
Yeah, I really am. I've been racking my brain. I try to reverse engineer these matchups when I do my breakdowns and do my research and go rabbit holing. If I am on the other side, because I know Texas as well as anybody in the country. So do you. We study Texas every damn day. So I'm like, well, how would I beat Texas? I know the vulnerabilities. I know how to exploit them. And I got to tell you, basically from their standpoint, I don't see a lot of ways. I wrote down early on, I expect to see that trick play, that flea flicker early on, try to soften up that Texas defense. I expect double moves early on because Texas is going to be aggressive. So you can double move Texas and maybe get some cheap yardage there with a chunk yardage play. The quarterback run game is going to be a big part of what you do, design and scrambles, right? You need to encourage this young man to scramble when the play's not there to make something happen. And I think they got to play 4-down football. They got to, use that 4th down to try to get 10 yards instead of 3 downs to get 10 yards. I don't know if they can do it every time. Maybe 4 downs to get 10 yards and they can get it done. And I think try their best to copy what Jeff Lebby did against Texas for 3 quarters. If they can do that and make it a game in the 4th, they were talking about something. But they're going to need a lot of help from Texas, meaning short fields, turnovers, that kind of thing. They will need help from Texas or missed tackles. Texas eyes in the wrong place. Maybe you get them with some trickery early on. You get a lot of misdirection early on. So if Texas eyes are in the wrong place, scramble drill. Texas may not be prepared for that because they haven't seen that a lot with mobile quarterbacks. It's going to have missed tackles. Like I said, it's going to have blown assignments, which we haven't seen any of that really. We've seen maybe some of it in small instances, but we haven't seen a lot of that from Texas this year. That's why they're ranked as one of the top defenses in the country.
Right, and building on that, Oklahoma will get Taylor Tatum back for this game. He is a very talented 4 or 5-star wide running back recruit out of Longview. Yeah. Still, however, we've yet seen that running game find consistency in that success on the ground that we've seen in the past under Oklahoma and their offensive, firepower that you will in the past decade. It's a different era. Lincoln Riley is no longer on that sideline. Man. And for that reason, you're seeing all of these kind of miscues and missteps in building the offense under Brent Venables, already on coordinator number 2 as well. So what's going to be the key for Oklahoma to move the football? Rod, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's going to have to be because Texas squanders its opportunities more so than what Oklahoma will do execution-wise, if that makes sense. It will be because of a bad punt, right? Michael Kern, questionable. You talk about turnovers that plagued the Longhorns with 4 of them a year ago in this game, and penalties. And we've seen penalties so far, more so on the offensive side of the ball than the defense. But what does that make things, or what does offensive penalties do? It backs you up, it takes away from the field position, and it takes points off the board. So again, this is where you want to get off to an early lead. Again, you don't want Oklahoma to stick around, find a fluke play like a blocked punt. Texas benefited from that as well a year ago. But the trick plays are coming. The quarterback designed run is coming. And I think that if it's going to have to take just an absolute lapse of schematic, execution here for the Longhorns to make this a game defensively, if the offense comes out playing the way that we've seen so far under Quinn Ewers in 2024.
Yeah, before we move on to the most compelling matchup, obviously Texas offense versus Brent Venables defense. One other thing, you brought up a great point about Michael Hawkins and how he holds on to the ball. And I actually went and looked it up and I'll let you give the stat and did some deeper diving. Turns out when you blitz him, he actually holds on to the ball even longer. A lot of quarterbacks, when they're blitzed, they get rid of the football. It brings a lot of clarity. It clarifies everything. And looking for their hot route, they get rid of the ball quickly. They diagnose it pre-snap. They know where they're going post-snap. For this young man, it makes sense. As a freshman, you blitz him, he holds on to the ball. It's like 3.5, 3.8 seconds at times. And Johnny Nansen and PK don't blitz a lot. They're probably close to around 20%, maybe a little bit over 20% blitz rate. With this young man, if you can get them in passing situations consistently, I wouldn't doubt if you blitz them, maybe overload one side, flush him to one side or the other, speed up his clock because he wants to scramble, hold on to the ball. Yeah. You want to force the panic mode with him, force it into crisis mode, and I think a little bit of the blitz can do that for Texas. Also, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say you may not even need to blitz, right? We've seen that BGO of Colin Simmons so far this year. If it's a 3rd and 7, a 3rd and 8, all you might need to say is, hey, 11, go get, fetch, right? Go get him. And he will. And that's what he's done so far. It's been so impressive. But that 3-point, I agree. I like the idea of flushing him. I like the idea of making him throw. Because I think so far when he's pressured, Rod, he's done a good job of not putting the ball in harm's way. And a lot of that is because he's using his legs to get out of, pressure situations. He's been pressured 27, 28 times. 12 of those so far have resulted in him scrambling for positive yardages. 5 of them have been sacks, and the others have been pass attempts. So you see where he wants to go. Pressure comes, eyes go down, let's run. Let's use our legs. Let's use our athleticism. Make him throw the football to those inexperienced wide receivers and see what can come as a result of a very athletic, fast defense for Texas.
Yep, I totally agree. And you're right. You may not, I'm not saying you have to, but maybe as a change of pace and a way to break tendency, something Oklahoma is not prepared for, that could be it. Also, I would throw out there, you got to make sure you keep a spy on him in passing situations, but you got to earn the right to rush the passer. That game against Mississippi State, they ran the ball 50 times. You got 6 sacks, more than, I think 4, maybe even 5. 4 of your 5 sacks came in the second half. Later in that game, once you start to establish yourself and force them into passing situations, I wonder for Texas to get them behind the chains or to get them off schedule, I wonder if we'll see them try to shoot some gaps early, make plays in the backfield, whether you're shooting gaps or whether you're some run blitzes early. You want to make plays in the backfield against Oklahoma. You don't want them to stay on time, on schedule, and ahead of the chains. You get this young man behind the chains, that could end up being a key element as well. And to your point, one thing you brought up about the defense not needing to blitz, great stat I found about the Texas deep pass defense. And it will play a huge role in this game because you don't have to worry about the Oklahoma wideouts. You're not threatened by them really. So you probably are confident lining up in man situations with those guys, on an island. Texas DBs or Texas coverage right now, pass defense, they allow the fewest yards per attempt without pressure.
Oh.
Yeah. They lead the country 4.8 yards per attempt allowed without pressure. So even without pressure, they still getting it done, playing some sticky, icky coverage, man. Doing a great job. All right, let's jump to the other side of the ball, the Texas offense versus Oklahoma defense. This is easily the most compelling matchup. I think it's going to be early on. I think it's going to be really, really interesting. The adjustments, the counters, the chess match within the game between these two brilliant play callers and play designers on both sides of the ball. For you, what ends up being, the biggest X factors? What are you looking for in terms of how these teams are going to approach each other with that Texas offense versus the Oklahoma defense?
I think it starts with the run game. Does Oklahoma make Texas one-dimensional? Does Texas find slivers through that Oklahoma front seven? I think, to me, you have to find some success with Trey Wisner, with Jaden Blue, with Jarrett Gibson. What does that look like? It doesn't have to be a whole lot, right? You know, it wasn't an overly explosive performance against Michigan, Rod, but there were times where consecutively they would pick up 6, 8, a couple yards in there. I think if you play an Oklahoma defense like this, if you're able to hold on to the football, which very important here for the running backs,
amen.
You need to find ways to be a balanced offense. And I think that's going to be a big key for me. Quinn's great, and Quinn's really good in these games. A year ago, minus the 2 interceptions, what did he have? He set like the Red River rivalry record for 19 straight completions in the heart of that game as Texas mounted its comeback. He's really good in these situations. What he needs, though, as he comes back from injury, is a running game that can alleviate some pressure and pick up chunk yardages at times where, hey, maybe I don't like the look that I'm given. But if I can take the look off, just get some help on the running game, well, now the play action, now the RPO game is the whole playbook will be wide open against this Oklahoma defense, which, again, just gave up 480 yards of offense to Auburn. It's not like they're world beaters. It's not like that's the most elite defense Texas will play this year. They're good, but they're good because they create turnovers. Texas holds on the ball. They're going to be able to score pretty easily.
Yeah, they're good. They're not a suffocating defense.
No, they're not.
They're good because in critical moments, like you said, they force a lot of negative plays, they create havoc plays, and they create turnovers. And to your point, if Sark does come out and try to strike balance with the offense, meaning run the ball as much early on as you throw it, it would be him breaking tendency. The only game this season, early down pass rate, we're talking about first half, first and second down. The only time when you're below 60% is Arch's first start. I'm sorry about that. My mic, I don't know why I did that. Apologies. But yeah, usually Sark and Quinn are at 60+%. And even in Arch's second start, they still were above 65% early game, early down pass rate. So if you're Brent Venables, if you're watching big games, Sark in big games seems to have an early game, early down pass rate. Think about Michigan. Think about the Bama games. Think about Oklahoma games in the past. And then your own experience if you're Brent Venables. And then looking at this season, if they do come out and try to run the ball early, like a kind of 50-50, try to achieve balance, it would be them breaking tendency. That's not what Sark does. And I'll say this, if you are going to run it, and based on my research, run it out of 12 personnel. If you're going to start Jaden Blue, which we expect is going to happen, Jaden Blue, hold on to the football because we believe in you. We believe in Blue. Hold on to the football. If you are run out of 12 personnel, found this stat for you. If you're looking at 12 personnel, just Jaden Blue, his rushing stats, 5.8 yards per attempt. He's averaging out of 12 personnel snaps. He's at, I believe, 4.7 yards per rush on the season. You're talking about almost a yard per rush improvement when he's running behind 12 personnel, 1 back, 2 tight ends. And that's close to 55% of his rushes. When he's in other formations, you're talking about his rushing total dropping below 4 yards per carry. I think that's going to be important early on. If you want to run the football, do it out of, especially with Jaden Blue, do it out of your most effective looks, your most effective personnel groupings. And I found this little nugget too. Shared it earlier. I was watching last year's game, trying to find some trend to pick up on, and found this little nugget. Went back to my notes and wanted to clarify it. 6-0 line package. We haven't seen it this season. I was a little curious as to why we hadn't seen it this season, and thought to myself, that is interesting and curious why. Go back and look at the Texas OU game last season, guys. Texas had a lot of success running the football out of the 6-0 line package, Big 11, Big 12. As a matter of fact, they averaged over almost 8 yards per play out of that 6-0 line package in Oklahoma, and they were able to run the football effectively. I think Brent Venables probably knows that. He probably has a plan for it this year. Sark probably knows it and probably thinks, man, I can run it. But I think they're going to pull the old rope-a-dope. I think they're going to throw out the 6-0 line package. Last season, you only threw out of it 5 times. Mostly they ran out of the 6-0 line package versus Oklahoma. I think this year is flipped. I think they break out the 6-0 line package, present power personnel, and then pivot to play action pass principles, and then attack Oklahoma deep with 6 O-linemen insulating the pass protection. And if you've watched Oklahoma's defensive backfield versus Power 5 quarterbacks, they're allowing over 65% completion percentage on passes traveling 20 yards or more in the air. They're very vulnerable there because they're so havoc-minded, because they're so aggressive, because they attack so well the underneath and intermediate. It leaves them a little vulnerable to the low percentage deep pass. Reminds me of 2021 Texas versus Oklahoma. Casey Thompson come out slanging, dropping bombs like the Mad Bomber. Don't be surprised if that may be a little change of pace, little tendency breaker for Sark, because we haven't seen a 6-0 line package this year, and I don't know why. It doesn't make sense why we haven't seen it.
That's a good point. And, going back to the 12 personnel, Oklahoma, yeah, they could game plan for it, but they haven't seen it, right? Look, a year ago, Jatavian Sanders didn't play in this game. And I don't think that you saw 12 personnel in that game because it was just Gunnar Helm going out there trying to figure it out, right? Texas didn't really throw out Juan Davis a whole lot a year ago. It's going to be foreign. And I think, again, in a game like this, anything that you can throw out there and have success with, it's going to create issues. So I'm all for it. Again, the throwing approach for Quinn, I don't think it'll change. You'll see it pass early. That's what Sarkisian likes to do. Get Quinn in with rhythm. Allow these wide receivers to make plays after the catch because you have a lot of speed. We saw 2022, Rod, first play of the game. 2021, first play of the game. Xavier Worthy, 75-yard touchdown on just an easy pitch and go, pitch and catch. Yep. So I think that'll be the recipe for success again. But to me, you got to find some sort of running game to complement that. And at the end of the day, if this is a close game, you got to find a running game to take clock off. I think that has to be the key early on or later on as the game kind of wears and drags on.
Yeah, it's just too risky throwing at that defense too much. You can yeah, exactly. It's just too risky to throw against them, 75% of the time. Like, it's just too risky. So you want to mitigate some of that risk by being able to run the football. So I agree with you there too, no doubt about it. But Sark does a great job of mixing in that. But early on, I would be shocked if he had, a pass rate lower than 60%.
I agree.
Early on in the first half. Something else that I think is interesting, you start looking at this matchup, Texas offense versus that Oklahoma defense, because I agree with you. I think if Texas protects the football, safeguards against negative plays, and if they, find a way to really keep away from the penalties, the self-inflicted wounds, they really can blow out Oklahoma. There's no doubt in my mind. But, with Texas in this matchup, I do wonder if Sark will have the trick play up his sleeve. We haven't seen that either from Sark. And I'm not saying that it's something that I expect to see, but we haven't seen it yet. And I wonder now, I'm suspicious as to why we haven't seen a double pass or a double reverse. We haven't seen any of that stuff, the flea flicker, any of that stuff. This might be the game for it.
Rod, I'll let you call your shot here, but I'll do it as well. Matthew Golden. Passing touchdown, Oklahoma.
Oh, yeah. Love it. Yes. Please do. Because Sark loves that double pass to the point where we used to criticize him for calling it too much. We're like, Sark, stop calling that damn double pass. You call it every game. Like, throw that double pass. Because he loved Xavier Worthy with the double pass. Yeah. And now it's kind of disappeared. Like, there's somebody that can throw that double pass. I love it. Okay. We're going to end it on that note. That's a good one.
I like it.
With you. I like that. That's good. Okay, any concern about Michael Kern? Just talking special teams real quick before we get out of here about Michael Kern, the punter being available and on the availability report?
Yes, and you never want to see your punter go down in any game. We saw how Texas fans are certainly still keen to how important a punter is, going back to the Missouri Texas Bowl back in the day. But, and this is where I think it's not as big an issue, because the offense that you play just isn't very competent. And again, I think that you see both sides kind of ramp it up on those fourth and mediums, fourth and shorts. Why? Because Oklahoma needs to score touchdowns to keep up with Texas. And why for Texas? Well, I don't think that they trust the Oklahoma offense to go down the field and score. So I think the aggressiveness will ramp up. Now, where does this come into play? When Texas is punting from their own 25-yard line, when Texas is backed up in their own red zone and punting from there. Midfield, I think you see that offense stay on the field and Sarkisian say, green lights up, let's go.
Yep. I think you just hit a great point there, CJ, before we get out of here. I think you may get an uber aggressive Sark because this is the first time he's had an elite defense that he's confident against an inept offense that can stonewall them.
Yep.
That even if they do move the football, it's going to take them forever to score. And I think that's why we may get a more aggressive start, special teams wise with some of the calls, but also on offense. I think he may take some shots because he's not afraid of potentially wasting a series because he knows he has so much faith in his defense.
I agree.
That's something to watch for too. Because and as long as if you're Texas, don't get into penalties and self-inflicted wounds, and they can guard Quinn and protect Quinn because they're top 10 in sacks, top 15 in tackles for loss, and they don't have the turnovers because this is a top 5 takeaway defense in the country. Texas will win this game, and they'll win it comfortably, in my opinion. All right, let's thank our friends at MyBookie one more time before we get out of here. With all the excitement of this season, make sure you're in the game with MyBookie. Bet any matchup, hundreds of college player props, and take advantage of weekly risk-free bets. The best part is you can do it all anytime, anywhere, straight from your phone. Visit mybookie.ag and use the promo code ONTexas to get started. It's MyBookie's 10-year anniversary, and they're rolling out the red carpet for you. You can bet big and bet confidently with risk-free Thursdays. If your boosted bet doesn't hit, you'll get your money back weekly. No sweat. Win-win bets all season long. And sign up right now and use the code ONTexas to cash in on a double deposit bonus. It's a no-brainer. Double the cash in your account before you even place your first bet. But don't wait because you only get it for a limited time only. So head on over to mybookie.ag, and for you seasoned veterans of MyBookie, they're offering you a brand new loyalty rewards program called MyBookie Plus. It's simple. The more you play, the more you earn as you progress through the tiers. You can unlock exclusive promotions, epic giveaways, and cash back in your account. That's mybookie.ag. Thank you very much, CJ, for all the nuggets, and thank you very much for the knowledge. We appreciate it. Thank you guys to everybody out there for watching and for listening to On Texas Football. Thank you to MyBookie for sponsoring the preview, the weekly preview. And until next time, hook 'em horns, and you still see.